guys, what's up? It is the Chinchilla Notebook here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today's video is going to be a little bit of a different video. It's going to be kind of a story time for you guys, and I just came up with this idea while I was literally in the middle of filming my last video, and I just realized that I have a couple funny or like interesting stories of my experience of owning chinchillas, so I decided to share them with you guys. Some of these stories are with my first chinchilla. Actually, most of these stories with my first chinchilla. I think I only have one with Merlin. But if you guys didn't know, I used to own a chinchilla before Merlin, and his name was Timmy. And a lot of these stories are going to be like, but how did he even get into this situation? Well, let me just give you a little disclaimer. I was, actually I don't want to say how old I was because that might reveal something. But basically, I was younger, and I was very inexperienced. I didn't know anything about chinchillas. Let's just say that. So his living situation wasn't that great. And anyway, so that being said, please don't get into the whole, oh well, you shouldn't have been owning a chinchilla, because I already know that. I didn't know much back then and it was pretty bad, but obviously now I've changed for the better. So anyway, that being said, let's just get into the video. The first story I have for you guys is when I was giving my first chinchilla playtime. We were in my parents' bathroom, and their bathroom, actually, you know what, let me just actually go into the room and show you. Basically, we were in the bathroom, which connects to their room, and they had a door, and the door's gap, let me just show you how thick it was. Okay, so I don't really know how well you can see. Oh wait, I just realized that we used to have vinyl, and we changed it to tile a couple years ago. So the gap now is a lot smaller, but before, I would say it was at least that big. It was a lot bigger. Completely forgot that we changed the tile, so it used to be a lot bigger than that. It used to be probably that big. But basically, I was having playtime with him, and that was the one room in the house, because he used to be in our living room. That was the one room in our house where he had enough space, and it was pretty closed off and safe for him to be. And I remember I used to read while I had him out for playtime. So I was reading a book, and next thing you know, I look up and I see literally his tail, and then he's gone. He's slipped underneath the door. And I thought that was so crazy because the gap was this big. It was literally this big. I couldn't even believe it. It was so crazy. Let me show you probably as big as his food bowl right here. So, I mean, I guess that's not super small, but that just goes to show you chinchillas are so flexible and that a lot of this is just fluff. The second story is probably one of the craziest ones. So, after a while, we moved my chinchilla's cage into the garage. Yeah, don't ask why. We just moved his cage into the garage, and in there, it was disconnected from our house. So our house is 2 levels. And the garage, I don't really know how to show you guys, but it's on the other side of the house. And this is our deck out here. Those are our stairs that you walk down the stairs, and then our garage is a little door on the left. Anyway, so that's how we had it set up, and his cage was in the garage. So what happened one night is I was getting ready to go down and sweep up his cage, see if he wanted to have playtime, that kind of thing. And as I was walking down, I couldn't believe it. I was so shocked. By the way, at this time we had a cat. Our cat was 1 year old, I don't know. But we had raised that cat along with the chinchilla. They both lived in the garage. That was not a very good idea, but the cat was really nice to him. He didn't ever bother him. He was used to him. Nothing he would never attack that chinchilla. So anyway, I walked down, and as I'm walking down the porch and down the stairs, we have a little area, a patio down there outdoors. And at the garage door, I saw my chinchilla outside at night, and we have a light that is motion sensor, so it turns on when it senses motion. And it turned on when it saw me come, it felt me coming, and I just see my chinchilla literally running out. It was a summer night. He was just running along the garage door, trying to find a way to get back in. I was so shocked. I was what in the world is going on? How did he get out? And what made it worse was that my cat was literally sitting right there. My cat had never had any interaction with my chinchilla outside of his cage. So my cat was literally sitting right there, and he wasn't doing anything. It wasn't trying to attack him, and I was like, this is crazy. The chinchilla basically got out of his cage because the door hadn't been clasped tightly or something. I don't know what it was. But Timmy got out of his cage, and he actually found a way to get out of the cat door. Like, out of that huge garage. He could have gotten lost in the garage too. But he managed to get outside of the cat door. But it's like plastic. It's hard plastic, so you really have to push. And I don't really understand how he pushed that. But yeah, he got out, and it was crazy. So the first thing I did, I was so shocked, and I did not want to lose them, because let me just tell you, if you lose your chinchilla outside, especially at night, you are not getting them back. Sorry, the heat just turned on. But anyway, so I thought really quick. I took off my coat, because I was wearing a coat, and I just threw it right over him, and just like got him underneath the coat, and then I just kind of scooped it up and brought it back in. So that was really, really crazy and scary too. But that is how my chinchilla ended up outside. Anyway, so the third story is with Merlin, and this is when I had first gotten him. I think we've had him for about a month. What are you trying to do, Merlin? I think we had him for about a month. He's in a really chewy mood. Anyway, so I had let him out for playtime, and he was really social with me. He really liked me, and he was used to people. Or not used to people, but he liked to be around people. So this was before he had those behavioral issues where he was like extremely territorial towards me. But anyway, so he had gotten out, and don't even ask me how, okay? He had been a little guy. He was, I think, 5 months old. And he had managed, in his defense, we had like some boxes here, some cardboard boxes that needed to be taken out. Okay, by the way, my laundry is a huge mess. I haven't done laundry today, so excuse this. But anyway, there is some cardboard here, and he managed to jump onto the cardboard, onto the sink, and onto the washer and dryer. And let me just tell you, I was in the room, so when I saw him on here, I was like, what in the world? And I went to grab him, but I scared him on accident, and he ended up going back here behind the washer. And now we have pushed the washer and dryer back, so there used to be a bigger gap. I think just the dryer, actually. Yeah, so the washer wasn't moved. He got stuck back here, and he was like, I can't really show you, it's dark, but he was like down in there with the pipes, and he had no idea how to get back up. He was like trying and scrabbling and like barking and making noises, and I was freaking out. I didn't know how to get him out. So I put my hand in there. I just kind of like put it in and tried my best to find where he was. Where'd you go? Find my best where he was, and he like saw my fingers, and he just like crawled up towards them, and then like I kind of just scooped him out with my hands. But he probably stayed in there for a good 5 minutes. And let me just tell you, for anybody who's owned chinchillas before, losing them in a place where they get stuck and they can't come out, and that's dangerous. Like, there's wires back there, there's probably chemicals. That is scary. And you know, younger me didn't really know that I should have probably taken him to make sure nothing got wrong with him as far as like chemicals or intoxications. I don't know, but he ended up being fine. So he just basically went towards my hand, and I was able to scoop him out. But I was surprised, because usually scared chinchillas tend to not want to come to you when they're in a situation where they're freaked out. So that was nice of him. Anyway, the last story is again with my older chinchilla. So this one is kind of like a mystery, but we figured it out. Basically, I'm sorry that Merlin's like hiding himself. So basically, he had a cage that had really flimsy bars. It was probably just a little bigger than one level of this Critter Nation. And the bars were really thin. Like, these ones are really heavy duty. Those ones, they could easily bend. I don't know if I'm going to include a picture of the cage. It doesn't really matter. But the bars were really bendy, and they were also about like this. My fingers are so blurred. They're also about like this far apart. We used to have this food ball that would clamp onto the side of the cage, and it was really heavy, so it would always bend the bars, and eventually it would break the bars. So we would like have it up here, and then it would break that bar, so we have to move down here, break that bar, move down here. So there's about like 3 bars that were missing. So we decided to move the food bowl to a completely different side of the cage, and there was like a gap probably about this big. And so we put like some wire, some heavy duty wire, so that, well, it wasn't really heavy duty because it was bendable, but it was flexible. But what happened was that we just put it there so that the chinchilla couldn't get out. Anyway, so a couple times this happened. I would like come down into the garage. Your belly, it's so white. So I would go down into the garage, and I would see him missing. I would see him missing from his cage. Like, the cage doors were closed, There was no holes or gaps anywhere. I had no idea how he would get out. And he was just like wandering around in the garage, which is also really dangerous, by the way. First of all, don't keep your chinchilla in the garage. Anyway, so he was just wandering around, and I put him in every single time, and I could not figure this mystery out. I was like, how in the world is this little guy getting out? And one day I told my brother, I'm like, hey, come with me and let's figure this out because it's really scaring me. I don't want to lose him. And he's like, he keeps getting out of his cage and I have no idea how. So my brother and me go down and we watch him for a good like 10 minutes and he's not doing anything. And so we finally both turn around, and literally right then he escapes, and we did not know how he did it. And the bars that we had replaced, that was our first thought, like, okay, that's a weak spot. But they were in place, like they weren't bent out or anything. And it was like a way too small of a gap for him to fit through. And it was like also up here. Like there was a ledge near it, but it was like also kind of in a random place. Anyway, so what happened was one day I had gone down there and I actually watched him, how he escaped. So he had this ledge that was right next to it. So he would go on the ledge and then kind of like turn himself sideways and like mess with the bars here. Like he would like pull and tug. I was like, what in the world is he doing? And eventually there was a way, because it was like I said, it was flexible but not super flexible because it was kind of like a heavier duty. And the way they were attached to the side, this is so hard, if you guys are confused, I'm sorry, but they were attached to the side of the cage so that they would like move. Anyway, so long story short, he would like maneuver it and then slip out from like probably this height and then jump onto the floor and go and explore in the garage. So that's how he kept getting out. It was crazy, and he had slipped through such a small space, which is crazy to all of us. Anyway guys, that's pretty much it for this story time video. I hope these were I hope these were interesting. I don't know if you guys have any crazy chinchilla stories or cool or funny ones. Leave them in the comments. I would love to read them. I love going through your comments, but reading them is just, it's a treat for me. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. So far, nothing crazy has happened with Merlin, which is good. But yeah, my other chinchilla had a wild life for sure.
You'll find another life to live. I know you'll get over